All right, let's talk about the smart home of 2026. But we're going beyond just the flashy gadgets. We're going to uncover the massive amount of power it all needs, and maybe more importantly, what it cost us in personal data. It really is a story about convenience versus consequence.
I mean, really think about that for a second. A home that doesn't just respond to your commands, but actually anticipates your needs, manages itself, and learns your deepest routines. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but in 2026, it is fast becoming a reality. The real question is, are we actually ready for it?
So, here's our roadmap. First, we'll step inside the 2026 home and check out the gadget revolution that's happening. Then, we're going to look at what's powering all this stuff, our fragile energy grid. And finally, we'll get into the biggest cost of all this convenience, our privacy. Okay, let's start with the home of 2026 itself. The technology we're seeing this year isn't just a simple upgrade. It's a complete reimagining of what home even means. And this is the key shift, right? We are moving from mere convenience to full-on autonomy. Asking your speaker to turn on the lights, that's one thing. But a home that learns your schedule, manages its own power consumption, and makes decisions for you, that's a whole new ballgame.
So what are the actual devices that are making this happen? Well, this year's Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, gave us a glimpse into a pretty wild future that is frankly already here.
I mean, the ambition here is just incredible. We're talking about robot vacuums that can literally grow legs to climb up and down stairs, TVs that can take a single photo and generate an entire video from it, and ultrasonic knives that can slice through a tomato with zero pressure. These aren't just gadgets, they're like little butlers taking over entire chores. And yep, there's even a robot that folds your laundry. Although, to be fair, it does it very, very slowly.
But, innovation isn't always about creating some futuristic robot. It's also about solving the really frustrating problems we have right now. For instance, if you've ever had a wireless smart lock, you know the #1 pain point: getting locked out because the battery died.
The solution is actually pretty ingenious. A company called Lock-in has a smart lock that uses something called Aura Charge. It's optical wireless charging. It literally shoots a focused, invisible beam of light from a nearby transmitter to the lock, keeping it powered up pretty much forever. No more dead batteries, problem solved.
And get this future isn't just for the super rich. Some of the most practical tech is becoming surprisingly affordable. See this number? $7.99. That's the price of IKEA's brand new smart water leak sensor. For less than $10, you can get a notification on your phone if your dishwasher starts flooding your kitchen. That's a real game changer.
Okay, so all these amazing gadgets, they all need one thing: power. A lot of it. But where does all that electricity come from? Well, this brings us to the hidden cost of the smart home revolution, the immense strain it's putting on our energy infrastructure.
Before we go any further, there's a key term we've got to understand: grid resilience. Basically, it's just the grid's ability to take a punch, whether that's from a hurricane, a massive heat wave, or even a cyber attack, and keep the lights on. It is, quite literally, the backbone of our modern world.
And here's the scary part. That backbone, it's in really bad shape. A D+. That's a barely passing grade for what is arguably the most critical piece of infrastructure we have. About 70% of our transmission lines and transformers are over 25 years old. They were designed for a world that just doesn't exist anymore.
Now this chart, it tells a story of both good news and bad news. The good news? For the very first time, renewables are projected to generate more electricity than coal. That's a huge milestone. The bad news? We are still overwhelmingly dependent on natural gas, and our aging grid is really struggling to handle this shift, which creates all sorts of bottlenecks and instability.
And look, this isn't just some abstract problem. It hits us right in the wallet. Upgrading the grid to meet all this new demand, from electric vehicles, data centers, and yes, smart homes, well, it means costs are going up. Forecasts are showing that prices in the Northeast could jump by as much as 20% this year alone.
So we've covered the gadgets and we've covered the grid. But there's one final cost we need to talk about. And honestly, it might be the most important one. Let's talk about the price of privacy.
This is the central trade-off, isn't it? That smart lock that automatically unlocks when you get home? Well, it's also logging your location and every single time you enter. That video doorbell? It's creating a permanent visual record of every person who comes to your door. And that smart thermostat that's learning your schedule to save energy? It knows exactly when your house is empty.
So experts point to 4 major challenges here. First, these devices often collect way more data than they actually need to function. Second, that data is often shared with third parties, which creates a whole new set of risks. Third, we as users have very little real control over our own information. And finally, these devices can be hacked, turning a simple convenience into a massive security risk.
But hey, it's not hopeless. There are very clear solutions. Companies can design these devices to be privacy first, just collecting what's absolutely necessary. They can encrypt everything. They can give us simple, clear controls to see and delete our data. And they can build these things to be secure from the ground up.
And this isn't just some theoretical ideal. There are established playbooks for companies to follow, like the cybersecurity framework from NIST. That's the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Think of it like a government-backed instruction manual for building secure technology. It provides a clear roadmap for everything from encrypting your data to having a response plan for when things inevitably go wrong.
And that brings us all the way back to this central question. The 2026 smart home. It offers this amazing world of ease, where our needs are met before we even have to ask. But in return, it demands a window into our lives. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is ultimate convenience worth ultimate transparency? That's the choice we're all about to make.